The business of professional football, they have it really figured out. So I'm going to turn this around to all of you. This is going to be a really interesting moment of silence meets public perception meets technology. All you old school fans, every time, and you're going to say it out loud as I'm reading you about what is happening. Every time I hear a 1975 comment like, football isn't like it used to be. The good old days when they would just rip a guy's head off. When Dick Butkus would hit him with that forearm shiver right across the forehead. Those are the good old days. If that's you, and that's a lot of people, and a lot of people like to go there, let me be very clear so we can all understand this. And you can say that, and I think a lot of people will say that. Man, I wish they would go back to hitting each other. Okay. You know what? You want to watch Patrick Mahomes. You want to watch Joe Burrow. You want to watch Lamar Jackson. You want to watch Justin Herbert. You want to watch Jalen Hurts, Josh Allen. I can go down the list of the greatest generation of quarterbacks in the history of the NFL, which is exactly what we are living through right now. It is. And I don't know that it's up for debate, and I'm fine with you debating. We are living through a period of the greatest generation, collective group of quarterbacks in our lifetime. These guys are better than ever, more talented than ever, know the game better than ever, and that's a big reason why the game is more popular than ever. So, you know what you don't want to watch? You don't want to watch Chad Henne. You don't want to watch Blaine Gabbert. And you don't want to watch Cooper Rush. I know it. The league knows it. The TV ratings know it. You don't even know who those guys are. My point exactly. My point exactly. You don't know who they are. They're all backup quarterbacks. Chad Henne, who's been around forever, remember he had to come out for the Chiefs and actually led him like on a 97-yard drive in the playoffs, didn't he? When Patrick Mahomes rolled his ankle. But you don't know who they are, and that's my point. So hear this out. The NFL is about betting and fantasy leagues, and that means it's all about quarterbacks. That's what gets you to watch. That's what gets you to bet. That's what gets you to play in your fantasy league with other other participants. If the NFL went to a complete, hear me out, give me a chance for this. If the NFL went to a complete no-hit rule, untouchable rule, you can't hit them, you can't even, don't take them to the ground even. None, zero. If they went to that as a complete rule on quarterbacks, making them untouchable, you'd still watch. You would. Absolutely, you would. You don't want to watch backups. You want stars. I'll bet, and the NFL is betting, you might make noise. You're making noise right now when I tell you what's going on, but you won't like it the other way. We know it. We know you won't like it the other way. If the result is the starter, the star, stays upright and plays all game, every game, that's what you want. It is what you want in the end. It's all that matters to you. So the NFL goes out of its way to protect quarterbacks. You know that. Unless, I guess, your name is Tua. They just leave you floundering, flopping around on the ground. But I know you're going to complain about this, and people love to complain about this. You don't want the alternative. The alternative is not Patrick Mahomes. The alternative is not Lamar Jackson or Jalen Hurts or that's the alternative. You don't want it. You want to watch Joe Burrow play all the time. So what if the league does anything to keep them upright? What if the league does anything, goes out of its way to make sure they're not going to get hurt? That's exactly what you're going to win in the end. That's what the casinos want. That's what your fantasy friends like. It's the way it is. So the league has gone to absurd levels. I don't disagree. Absurd levels to protect quarterbacks. What do we hear all the time? What do you like to say? Even Troy Aikman said it during a game this year and later apologized for it. Well, why don't you just put dresses on them or something like that? That phrase has been around forever. Okay. Put dresses on them or whatever you want to make it out to be. Don't touch them because the fans and the bettors need them to stay on the field. I know you're going to think it's silly. So if you ran an NFL team, here's a question for everybody, because this is going to the level of technology, which is, it's pretty strange. If you ran the NFL, would you not go out of your way to keep the starting quarterbacks upright and playing? Do whatever you can, make whatever rule you can, whatever piece of technology you can. Would you not do that? You really think you would ever say, well, look, we don't put dresses on. That's the way Dick Butkus would have liked it. So go get him Chad Henne, go get him Blaine Gabbert or Cooper Rush. Yeah, it's just the way the game goes. You would never say that because the numbers would go down. You want them playing. They're the stars. They're the reason why you bet. That's a setup for a weird development. And some might say, well, wait a minute, Jeff. If they're so concerned about the quarterbacks, why don't they have the same kind of concern with the same technology for other players? I'm going to say that's a pretty good point. Yeah. I mean, if you're worried about concussions, aren't you worried about concussions for everyone? And the truth is not really. No. They're the star. They're not the backup guitar player. Is there such a thing? They're the star. That's all that matters. That's all that matters. I'm sorry. It's all that matters, particularly all that matters now more than ever before. Joe Burrow needs to play every game. Joe Burrow needs to light it up. And I don't even know who Joe Burrow's backup is. You don't want to watch him. Ever. And don't lie and say you do. And don't pretend that you want to go Dick Butkus on him. No, you don't. Not at all. So why I bring this up is the NFL has some technology. They're not going to get concussions anymore. I think they're going to be playing, the dogs, when your dog gets the ears done, they have that big cone. That's what they're going to do to the quarterback's head. No, I'm not kidding. The first quarterback-specific helmet designed to reduce concussions has now been approved for use by the NFL and the NFLPA. That's the Players Association. The helmet, manufactured by Vicis, V-I-C-I-S, reduces severity of helmet-to-ground impacts. Just so you know, one of the big reasons why quarterbacks get so many concussions is they fall back. They get thrown back. And your head hits the ground. The thinking was that if the turf, the turf now has got those rubber pellets in it, it's going to make it softer. It's not like what used to be the old AstroTurf, which was a concrete, there's some carpet on top of it. And it's guys would hit the back of their head, and that's how they would get so many concussions. So this is like this big dome-like thing that's going to be specifically, I guess, strategically put on the back of the head. So if they hit the ground, they're going to get fewer concussions. If I remember correctly, having had concussions from the front and the back, you hit the back is when your vision goes, I think. Front side is more memory. But there you go. They're going to be playing in one of those cone-like things around their head. Not really, but it's going to be structured. It's going to be kind of oblong, and that's what it's going to specifically help out the back of their head. Now, I'm going to say someone in a meeting probably says, we could probably have less goofy stuff if we just make them untouchable. But okay, for now, we're going to give the quarterbacks concussion-proof helmets. Not making it up. We've now analyzed with our engineers and with the Players Association, more than 1,000 concussions on field, and we have a pretty good database of how these injuries occur. Okay, so back of the head, got it? So they're going to begin, if the player signs off on it, they get to wear this specific giant helmet. Those people, I never understood this. I don't know what you're doing. Have you ever run at a track and then you'll see these people, they get inside those big balls? They're like a soccer league or something where they just inside those balls. It's got to be 150 degrees in there. That's kind of what they're going to do for their head. Now, the quarterbacks, apparently, they get to choose. And I suspect someone like Aaron Rodgers, who's got a helmet and a chin strap from about 1980, he probably is going to keep the same. But they do get to choose whether or not they're going to wear one of these giant puffy things on their head to keep them from getting getting concussions. I suspect in the case of Tua, they're probably going to say you either wear that or you don't play, which I would not disagree with. My takeaway is you're getting really close to you can't touch him. I don't even know what will count as a sack. In the future, I believe a sack will be 2 below. So, and that's what you want. And I think instead of spending $3,000 on a helmet that's going to, I don't know how much it's going to weigh, it's going to keep you from getting concussion when you hit the ground, which they don't know exactly if it will. By the way, concussions are unavoidable for everyone else. You do know this. The equipment's better. The awareness is better, but if you go and run into people over and over again, you're going to get a concussion. I just want to let you know that you can't go run into people, whether they're 200 pounds or 300 pounds. You go run head first into your garage door a bunch, you're going to get a concussion, period. That's the way it works. I mean, I hear all the time, I could hear parents go, well, we're learning new technique. And I said, well, wait a minute. You go run your head into something and see how that works out for you. You're going to get a concussion. They are. So they're not even going to worry about getting cone heads for everyone else. They're worried about that guy. You know why? Because that guy is all you care about. You could care less if the rest of the other 10 guys are interchangeable parts with no name on their jersey. What you want, and the NFL knows you want, is the greatest generation of players needs to stay healthy. You do not need them stiff like Tua was, flopping around on the ground. So they're going to protect him with these giant cone heads. I don't know how many will wear it, but I think the big takeaway is in a meeting, you're really going to have to conclude we just almost need to make them untouchable, and we just need to understand that some knuckleheads are going to make the comment about dresses, but we do not need, let's understand, we do not need Chad Henne playing again. I think he retired, but we don't need Blaine Gabbert taking someone's place. You don't need Cooper Rush, although he won every game. You don't need Cooper Rush, who looks just like Van Gogh. You don't need him taking someone's place. We need the stars. Give them their cone heads. Give them their giant padded back of their head. I wonder if they'll fall backwards more if the headgear is weighted backwards. Those things are not comfortable, so you know. What if you're more likely to fall backwards if it's weighted more in the back? Either way, you only watch because of the quarterbacks. It is the greatest generation of that position of any time. And they are making the money. They are making you bet. They're making your fantasy league. And the league is going to do everything humanly possible to make sure the backup doesn't play.